Port Charlie.
I'm an addict named Rick.
I'm away from Boston.
Grateful to be here today. I thank Mitch for asking me to share. It's always an honor to give back to NA. That was what was so freely given to me. My clean times, November 29th, 1984. But for the grace of God, I found a fellowship. I'm gonna just back up away, take a visit to my young childhood. When I was, remember when I was in fourth grade, I remember a friend of mine asking me to go try out for baseball, tryouts. So we used to play baseball in a sand lot. Lived in the projects, kicked the can, baseball. When the lights went on, we went home, right? So he asked me to go try out, so I went with him. And that day I'm sitting on the bench waiting for the coach to call me. And that yellow-bellied sapsucker never called me, That day I made it, told myself I never, ever, ever let an adult tell me what to do again, in baseball. If I played baseball, I play in a lot. If I want to play first base, I play first base, whatever. What team I wanted to be on. And I remember later on, I grew up in the projects, and we moved down to South End of New Bedford. And when I was down there in junior high, they were taking tryouts for baseball and basketball. So I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna play baseball, telling somebody what I was gonna do, And I remember we had a beautiful, beautiful league down there. All the kids played baseball, and it was embedded in me that I'd never trust another adult in sports. So what did I do? I went and hung around the corner, right? And what I learned at the corner was, drugs, sex, and rock and roll, right? Sex, drugs, what would I want to be on a baseball field hitting baseballs? I want to be with these guys, these girls, and that was the start of the mess, the addiction. I remember we'd camp out, we'd go jump over people's fences and take their pears, take their apples, What was that? That was stealing, right? I just took it as, I wanted it, I got it, We'd go by the stores, they'd have the bread and the donuts out Sunday morning. If we went by early enough, we'd take the donuts, and we'd go in and eat them, And I thought that was okay. That's how I was starting to get my mindset. If I wanted to take it, I started turning into a liar, cheater, and a thief, I remember, doing the drugs, and one day, I was 15 years old, a couple friends of mine did a drugstore. And they came by my house, and they had the pharmaceuticals, the Dilaudid and cocaine. And I remember being scared to death of needles. I remember the doctor, I'm showing my age now, I remember the doctor come to my house when I was a kid, he'd give us the shots, and I'd run upstairs, my brother would get the shot, and he'd have to come get me, bring me down. I remember putting my arm up and looking the other way, and I felt that feeling, and I didn't know what that feeling was going to do to me the rest of quite a few years. I found my love, And I picked up heroin shortly after that, and I was off and running to the races, the rest, the overdoses, the time spent behind the walls and waiting to get bailed out, the time that I met a girl, and we got married, and my intentions were always to be with her. I should say she got married at first, for a few years, my intention is always to be with her, but my actions is always outrunning. I took the drug, and then the drug took me. I got a sentence 8 and a day to Concord, Massachusetts, state prison suspended, and if I stood out of trouble for 3 years, I wouldn't have to serve my sentence. I knew I was going to end up, being in Concord. But a friend of mine said, "Why don't you come fishing? And keep you out of trouble, get you off the streets, And I ended up going out scalloping. I became a fisherman. And I remember going to detoxes, and what we used to call it scalloping, we used to call it sea talks. I go out to sea and I kick my habit out to sea. And that went on for years and years and years. Towards the end, I remember going out and I didn't want to use no more. You remember that when you got to that point in your life, you didn't want to use. I'd go out on a fishing boat. I felt like jumping overboard. I'm too scared to kill myself. I come in, and the first thing I would do was use. And I'd take the drug, and the drug would take me. That went on for years and years, And one day, my mother came to me, and she says, the night before, back up, I got on my knees, spiritual journey, and I asked for help. The only prayer I knew was help. And then they say, ask and you'll receive, and I asked for the help. And the next day, my mother said, hey, a friend of her husband, I don't know if you want to go to meet, And I said, I was in the jackpot, I was always in the jackpot. My wife had left me. And I said, yeah, I'll try it, and I went to a meeting. I was high, and it was a Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. There wasn't no Narcotics Anonymous meeting in New Bedford at that time. And I went there. Something happened that night. I said, maybe I could stop. Maybe there's a chance. I could get clean. They said, keep coming back at the end of the meeting. Nobody told me to keep coming back. When I went to the corner, I was a liar, cheater, and a thief. I was going in to rob somebody or, cop some dope. I wasn't going there to help anybody, And I got home and I'll always be grateful to Andy for bringing me to that first meeting. I got home. And he called me up and said, you want to go to detox? I got a friend that would, bring you to detox. So I ended up going to, a place down there they call Doctor's Hospital. So I remember going in there and dope sick, filthy, dirty. A couple of days after I was in there, my roommate said, I was waiting for you to, take a shower. I said, I was waiting for the methadone to kick in, for me to feel better, And I was introduced. They still had it, the alcoholics and the addicts separated. They put us up on a second floor where we couldn't, jump in and out of the windows. And I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous. They came in, and when they said we're going to Narcotics Anonymous, it hit my narcotics. I was a heroin addict. I said, let me get there. And when I went there, I compared, I didn't identify. I said, well, how come they ain't talking about narcotics, But the seed was planted, and I went back home, after the 30 days, it was 30-day detoxes back then. I went back home, and I laid on the couch. I was scared. You remember when you first got clean? I was so scared to leave the house because I knew somebody had my spot across the street dealing the dope, and the barroom was next door, If I left the house, I was going to use. I never left the house and didn't use. I was scared to leave, The meeting was at 12 o'clock, so I get in my car. I think it was a Hornet, It went sideways. One of the shocks were gone, And I ended up saying, God, just get me to the meeting, man. Let me pass all these people. And when I got to Cushing Avenue, I seen a barroom, and the name of it was the meeting place, right? I said, must be in the back room, right? Must be in a bar, you know. I found it, you know. I got out of my car, I opened the door, and I walked into the bar room, and God spoke to me. He said, dummy, you're in the wrong place. You know what I mean? You ain't finding no meeting here. All you find here is trouble, right? So I turned around, I went out. You want to find a drug, you found a drug, right? So I wanted to find a meeting, I found a meeting. I got in the car, you know, and I moseyed on down the avenue, and I found a meeting place. I remember walking into the meeting, and I knew it was the other Alcoholics Anonymous, and I walked into the meeting, and I said, listen, call ourselves junkies back there. I'm a junkie, it's okay if I come in here, you know, to the meeting, you know. They said, welcome, you know, you're in the right place, you know. And I walked to the back of the room, and I put my back against the wall so I could see anybody coming through the door, you know. And then I started looking around, see if there's anybody there I robbed, or, you know what I mean? Made sure I was going to be okay, you know. I heard a guy in there, right? He was laughing and joking. And life sucked in, you died, right? They told me I couldn't use no more. I had to find new people to hang around with, you know. I had to take a gun and shoot me, you know. I couldn't do nothing no more, you know. And I heard something about sponsorship, right? And I went a couple of days, and this guy was so happy. And I said, man, I wish I could find some happiness like him, you know. And I went and asked him to be my Valentine. That's what it felt like, you know. That's like asking a guy to be your Valentine, right? What if he didn't like you before I didn't like, he didn't like me before I didn't, you know? And you know, he said yes, you know. He said yes. And he said, Rick, he said, the addict that walked through the door with you again, you got to change, you know. I didn't know what he was talking about. But I said, okay, you know. And he was like the smartest guy I ever met, man. He had this wisdom, right? He said to me, he says, once a cucumber becomes a pickle, it can't go back to be a cucumber, right? And I could identify with that, right? Because I tried, man. I tried just to use a little, to maybe have a drink, you know, have a few pills, or maybe just shoot a bag, you know, but it never worked. You know, one was too many, 1,000 wasn't enough, right? And I remember being in a restaurant with him one day, and they're drinking, right? And I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the beer, right? And he says, Rick, I'll tell you something. I said, what, Dave? You know, he says, every bottle of Bud's got a set of works floating in the bottle, right? I said, bam, I thought, you know, I figured if I wasn't shooting dope, I was okay, right? Anything else, it was okay, you know. I was learning, he's teaching me, you know, I couldn't drink. And then I thought, and I remember every time I was drinking, I was always trying to scam into my head. I wasn't going to get some money to get some drugs, right? He started teaching me, and he started loving on me. And you hear around here, some guys can be hard, some guys can be loving. I needed somebody to be loving, you know. I needed somebody to love on me because, you know, I was beat up enough. I didn't know have anybody beat me up, you know. I remember going to his house, we used to play, anybody remember that, what is it, with the ball going back and forth, bing, Attendo, was it? You know, that was way back then. Remember that? Bing, bing, ding, you know, and stuff like that. I hung on to him, and I was scared, you know. It picked me up, it take me to meetings. You know, I remember we were in a meeting one day, and they needed a coffee maker, right? And he says, service, right? He says, me and Rick will make coffee. I wait for the meeting to be over. I said, well, you stupid. I said, I don't even drink coffee. Why am I going to be making coffee? He says, do what I do, and you're going to get what I get, right? Do what I do, and you're going to get what I get. He said, we're going to clean up the ashtrays. We're going to, you know, mop up, go in the bathroom, make sure everything's okay. And I'd be walking around saying, what's wrong with these people, right? They think I'm their mother. You know what I mean? Can't they clean? That's not my cup of coffee. That ain't my soda. You know, why don't they clean up after themselves? You know? He looked at me and he says, they're incapable. How about you? Remember when you came around here? You know, they thought everybody owed you. And I took you under my wing and I showed you around. He said, that's our job, man. Our common welfare comes first. Person recovery depends on any unity. We can't knock them down. I needed love. I didn't need that knocking down. Well, you forget after a while. You know what I mean? When you get these, I feel, you know. So I kept on cleaning up. I remember making bologna sandwiches. I used to feed them, you know, when they come in. I remember one guy ate so many bologna sandwiches. I said, man, I gave him some extra mustard. Right? I said, he likes that. I said, here, Jackson, here's a couple bologna. He didn't even blink his eye. Right? He just ate it with a smile on his face. You know? But we had fun. We were in there. And we learned to love. I learned how to be a member of the family by coming around the meetings, you know, cleaning up the ashtrays, you know, sweeping the floor. I started going home, and I started becoming a part of my family. I started, you know, when I got out of bed, the last one, I'd make the bed. I washed the clothes, right? I put them in the washing machine. I said, I ain't putting them in the dryer. My father used to do it. I said, man, that guy, my mother got him henpecked, you know. And after a while, I started putting them in the dryer. I started folding the clothes. And I started becoming a part of the family, you know. And it felt good, man. It felt good, you know. Thank you, Narcotics Anonymous. Well, six months into going to AA, we started NA, Narcotics Anonymous, New Bedford, and man, it was like a domino effect. Before you know, we had a meeting every day of the week, you know. We used to have to travel an hour to go to the meeting. They had one meeting in Fall River, you know. And besides that, you had to go elsewhere, you know. And I remember when we first started NA, you know, people would say, Rick ain't staying clean. No way, you know. And they started coming. You know, that's how it works, don't it? They started coming to meetings. They started seeing me doing the right thing, you know. I guess when they first started coming, they wanted to see what kind of scam I was trying to run over them, you know what I mean? And then they found out there was recovery, you know. You can recover, you know. I fished for a few years. It must have been, after recovery, about six years. I remember one day, my sponsor said to me, he says, when you're coming from fishing, make sure you call me, right? So on the way home, I called him on the radio. We didn't have cell phones or, you know, I called him on the radio in the boat, you know. I said, Dave, I'll be in at so-and-so time. You're going to meet me there? You know, I said, yeah, I'll be there, Rick, you know. Yeah, we'll take care of each other. And I got there, we took out the fish, you know, it's shack money. And I forget what I got, $400, $500 under the table. And I went home, you know. I went home and I gave my wife the money. I said, hey, I got $5. That's the first time I remember ever doing that. You know, I woke up the next morning, man, what a feeling that was. You know, I didn't spend it because that was always spent the day I get home. Everybody went running, you know, for the drugs. And I went home. My sponsor picked me up. Man, God working in my life, you know. And you know, I woke up the next morning happy. I woke up, you ever woke up the next morning saying, man, I wish I didn't spend that money. I did it again, you know. Oh, man, I woke up that morning, I didn't spend the money, and I had that blessing, you know. I remember later on that day, I went, right, and he says, okay, I went to Settlement House, I get my check. He said, where are we going to cash the check, you know? I said, we'll go to the bar room, you know. Harborside. He looked at me, the bar room. He said, you ever think of going to a bank to cash your check? You know? I tell you, this guy was smart. I said, yeah, all right, let's try this, right? So we went to the bank, right? I'm standing in line. He says, hey, Rick. I said, what, Dave? He said, why don't you put a couple of dollars in the bank, start a bank account, right? I said, yeah, okay. You know, I don't know how much I put in, you know. But you know what they did? They gave me they just started a new bank in the waterfront. They gave me a set of three-piece suitcase, right? I said, hey, that's pretty good, man. You know what I mean? Put money in the bank. Bow never gave me no suitcases. You know, and another thing happened to me. Nobody in line asked me to borrow any money, right? When I cashed my check in the bar, that's how us fishermen work. Hey, can I borrow 100 till I go out and get in? Hey, I'll borrow 50. Where's 100 you owe me? You know, I had to pay my bar tab and then buy everybody around. You know. I said, you know something? I think I'm gonna start going to the bank to cash my check. You know, this works good. This works out. You know. They started taking me to meetings. You know, commitments, right? And one day, I didn't even think. He said, Rick, jump. I say, how high, right? He said, Rick, we're going to prison. We're going to do a, Bridgewater State. I said, yeah, all right. And I remember not even thinking. I walked through the door. I gave the guard my license, and I sat down. I said, you dummy, man. You big dummy. You just walked into jail. You know that? He said, all these people are going to leave, right? And they're going to say, can I talk to you? A warrant's going to pop up and you're staying there. You got to be down, and I'm talking to my head. I don't even know if I talked that day. I'm thinking, I said, man, you big dummy. You're a big, big dummy, right? And the guy came, I could hear him coming, you know? And took us to the door. He gave me I could have kissed that ground when I went up. It's the first time I went to jail. I didn't have to see a judge, or I didn't have to get a bail bondsman to bail me out, right? Recovery was working. God was showing me that life was getting better, right? I remember, going to the beach with my wife, with the kids, I used to go nodding out, drooling. Once in a while, she'd say, Rick, get out of here. I'll see you later on. She's embarrassed of me. But now, being clean, I could go down to the beach, put suntan lotion on, lay down, get some sun, play with the kids. And my kids play with me, and everybody else's kids play with me. I'm starting to get to talk about the joy of living around here. That smile that I see my sponsor have started coming on my face, and life was getting awesome, man. They started going out fishing for 11, 13 days. We used to fish 8 days, dog to dog. And I said, man, this is too much time. I want some time with my family. So a friend that came into the meetings, I met her there. She says, ask my father. He'll get you a job. She told me about 3 times. So I finally said, yeah, okay, tell your father I want a job. I'll go see him. So I went and seen him, right? And so I'm sitting there. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like to work for the gas and electric company. They pay pretty good money, right? He said, there's no jobs there. Then they just started the lottery. They give you a car with the lottery to drive tickets around. You get a car. Right? I said, okay, I'll take the job with the lottery then. He said, no jobs there. Thinking to myself, he said, well, maybe I get you a job down at Plymouth, down at the prison. I don't know, a custodian, whatever it was. I said, my car will never make it there, going to work in a prison, And then he says, well, they're building a new prison out here in Dartmouth. So I work there. I said, yeah, okay. And I left, disgusted, right? I went home. I said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to cut scallops the rest of my life, right? I'm going to be a fisherman. I said, I guess it ain't meant for me to be working the shore. Because before, the only job I could have is a fisherman, because once they threw the line and you went out fishing, you couldn't swim home, so you had to stay there and work, right? And when you got home, you got paid, right? So that's the only kind of job I could ever, I didn't think I could ever work ashore. And I was clean, 6 years clean, He called me, he said, I went home, and I got a call from the sheriff, right? And I went to see the sheriff. I never forget, no application, it was inside deal, right? This guy hooked me up, and sheriff looked at me like a double take at my record. He says, man, he says, sales of heroin. He says, you get caught robbing a drugstore. He says, you got quite a few breaking and entrance, assault and batteries. He said, I don't know if I get you a job here, I said to myself, I don't even want a job here anyway. It's stupid, you know? I said, good, you know. He calls me up another month, you know. He said, you got the job. Show up, you know. So I get the physical, and I went, and they gave me a uniform, and I said, man, I'll be a guy at a prison. And I said, oof. So I remember walking in Ash Street, right? I've been there in the cell before, you know. In 76, I was in there, secret indictments, they brought me in. And everybody, you know, when you go to jail, you know, when you go out to jail, everybody sees you, happy to see you, right? Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm in chains. You're happy to see how I got arrested, you know? So this time, I'm there, and I get a uniform. And they're all taking a double look. They said, what kind of scams has Rick got going on now? He's gonna come sell drugs in here. What are you doing? You know, he's better than I thought he was. You know what I mean? I remember walking through it. I see a guy Wayne Sandella, God bless his soul. Like most of me, he's dead. You know, he says, how can it be? You look at me. Man, I ran the street with him, robbed with him, broken into houses with him, you know, and here I am with a uniform, right? I said, the lie's dead. Once the addict's always an addict, you know? We do recover, you know? Yeah. It went right over his head. Like when I asked my sponsor, I says, how long did I go to meetings? He said, till you like going to meetings. He told me in the beginning. And today I like going to meetings, right? So I walked around the prison, right? Carrying a message. 26 years, you know. They said, Rick, you're going to jail, but nobody ever told him I was going to get paid for it, right? I remember walking through the gate, you know, and having the keys. And I said, man, I really don't want to be here, you know. And my God spoke to me. He says, Rick, he says, you want to be the key man or you want to be the man behind the bars? I said, hey, I'll keep the keys. I'll keep the keys. Thank you. You know, and I was able to carry the message. I was able to bring meetings in there, right? Is that a blessing? You know, and they see me and they said, man, if Rick can do it, anybody can do it. You know what I mean? They used to say when I was back in my corner, they said, man, when I get as bad as Rick, I'll quit. Right. You know where those guys are now, right? They're on the other side of the dirt, man. You know, man, what a blessing it was to work in a prison for. I'd be smiling in the yard, they'd be coming by and say, what? How come you're so happy? I said, I'm on the right side of the dirt, It'd be time for court, right? And I'd say, you know something? NA or the DA, right? And you didn't go to NA, so this morning you'd be seeing the DA, right? I said, that ain't right, Rick. I said, look at me. I don't see no DA no more, you know? And the guards would get mad, you know? They would say, this ain't no recovery program, Rick. What are you doing, you know? Who you working for? I say, I'm working for God. He says, well, if you're working for God, who's paying you? I said, God. You know, and they couldn't understand it. They didn't have to understand it. That's right. I knew it, you know, and the inmates knew. You know, I remember when it came time to retire, you know, the only reason I went to retirement, I still had a little dope fiend in me, right? They give you a badge, right? And I knew my wife wanted to come down here, down south, and they give you a badge that fit in your wallet, right? So I said, well, you know, I might as well go, because if I get stopped for speeding or something, I can just bring my badge up, you know, give my license, see the badge, and let you go. You know what I mean? But when I was in there, there was something missing. I said, Sam, this don't feel right, you know? Something's missing here. It was me and all the guards retiring, you know, the ones that came up. And ding, it hit me. You know what was missing? The inmates, the people that I identified with, the people that I helped for all those years, the people that helped me. You know, I was blessed. God had blessed me, you know, and you never know. You never know where he's going to bring you, you know. I remember praying for God Say, God, when am I gonna have a side 3 girls? You know, every time I had another baby, my wife had another baby, I said, boy, I said, no girl. Boy, no girl. You know, that was a blessing found out later. Because when you have daughters, you know where the babies come? They come home, you know, they come to you, you know, they're always around mom and dad, you know. But anyway, I'm praying for this son, right? I say, I want a son, you know. One day my daughter walked in with a little baby, you know. Says, Dad, can you stay with me? I said, get him out of here, I got enough kids, right? End up staying there, staying, you know. I remember he was 5. This is how God works, right? I remember he was 5 years old. I walked into school. I got him situated in school, right? In kindergarten. I got a call. Say, Mr. Pierce. He says, who's Brandon's father? I said, I am, you know. He said, no, you're not, you know. I said, listen, anybody can make a baby, right? But it takes a father to bring them up, right? Now, there was a movie going on, Saving Isaiah, right? Little Brandon, right? He was a comer, right? And I'm saying, man, they're going to take him away from me, you know? And I went and got a lawyer, you know? And I went in front of the judge. And the judge said, man, I thought my record was boom, boom, pop up, right? And he said, you make a beautiful father. I said, thank you, Jesus. Boy, man, it was a blessing. And a few years later, I adopted his sister, you know, and that's what this program gives, you know. It helps us give others. Their mother was an addict, and she couldn't get clean, you know. Her mother couldn't get clean, but God found fit to bring them to me, you know, put them in my house, and I was able to bring them up. Yeah. You know, and how much more time I got? Everybody paying attention?
As much as you will.
And anyway, you know, Brandon's grown up, you know, 28 years old. Wow. Got a baby, my baby granddaughter. You know, she calls, she's the only one of Papa. She calls herself, no, Papa. You know, I got 14 grandbabies. 4 of them great grandbabies, you know. And I remember promising my wife, right, that once I retired, I'd move her to Florida, because we used to come here on our anniversary, right? I retired from the prison, right? He says, we going? We're going to Florida. I said, let's wait a year, you know. And the next year, she said, we going to Florida now? I said, well, listen, why don't we wait another year? She said, well, I'll meet you out there when you decide. So I got on the car. We sold our house out there, and we're driving out, and I cried all the way out here, man. All my babies were home. You know, I didn't want to leave my babies, you know. But God had another journey for them, you know. And it was in Florida, you know. And I remember, you know, we got here for the hurricane. I remember telling people I was going to a lot of meetings. Didn't even remember that. And I said, I hope this hurricane hits us dead on and blow this whole state of Florida all the way up to Massachusetts. Right? And I'd be like, I was nuts. Like, hurricane, you know what a hurricane is? I said, when the hurricane said, I see more wind than this out on the fishing boat. You know what I mean? But we got out of it. We got down, right? And we're looking for houses, right? My wife's seen a house. She won't let me call it a boat no more. It's a little skiff, right? On a canal, you know. So she got the house. She says, Rick, I found a house with a boat, right? I said, oh yeah. So we went to the house, right? And we walked in. We were looking for house after house. She says, I love this house. I said, beautiful, you love this house. I said, we'll get this house. I'm going back to Massachusetts. You can stay with this house. You like this house, you know? And like many times before, in my recovery, in my walk with God, I got to Lanai. I didn't even know what a Lanai was, right? But God hit me. He said, this is where you belong. This is where I brought you. This is your next journey, right? And everything started falling into place for me in Florida. Isn't that how our best thinking always got us in trouble, right? You know, before we left from New Bedford, right? Passed it down. He said, hey, to me, he says, hey, my wife dear. He says, God speaking to your wife, right? What did I hear all the way to Florida? And he, listen to me, God. What did Ken say? God speaking to me, so listen to me, you know. But we got there. We got to Florida. We found that house. And it's a blessing, you know. We started a meeting, me and a few others started a meeting 3 minutes from my house, closest meeting I ever. No, I can be late and be there on time, you know what I mean? God is good, you know, all the time, you know. And he always shows up at the right time, don't he? Huh? He always shows up at the right time. My granddaughter followed me out to Florida, right? With my granddaughter and my great grandson, you know, and they're living at my house now. It's, man, you know, what a blessing, you know. February was our 48th wedding anniversary. You know, is that a blessing? No? God put this woman in my life before I got clean, right? And it was like an angel, you know. She slowed me down, you know, and I'll forever be grateful, you know. And Narcotics Anonymous, you know, when I get back, right? I think a week after I get back, I'll be marrying my sponsor I moved down here with. You know, I moved down here and I lived with him for four months, you know, looking for a house. And you never know, you know. I remember Paulie D when he was in New Bedford. He'd be doing good, and all of a sudden I see that car go flying down the street. I see, yeah, Paulie's back at it again, right? And when he came back, what did I do? I hugged him and said, welcome back. Yes, right. You know? And when he came back, I hugged him again. I said, welcome back. Mm-hmm. And I hugged him, and I hugged him, and I hugged him. And that's what we got to do, yes, you know? He's coming up on 20 years. Yeah. You know, sometimes we get around here, you know, we start feeling good, you know what I mean? And we think we're better than them, you know? What's he doing back? And what's she doing back? You know, where they belong. Narcotics Anonymous, you know. The only requirement of membership is the desire, right? It used to be, when it first come, I remember honest, right? Honest desire, right? They took that honest out. Who are we to say if you're honest? If you're here, you're honest, right? Yeah. Remember the day, I wanted to quit. When I wanted to quit, nobody believed me. You know something? I didn't even believe myself. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wanted, but I didn't know if I could do it. Thank you, NA. You know, Narcotics Anonymous works. Any addict can stop using and lose the desire to find new way of life. And with that, you know what the blessing today is? My buddy Sean, he's going to be sharing right after me. I kind of don't think that, you know what I mean? I'm looking through, I say, Sean G, I say, hey, put me with him. You know, he come back up. No, put me with Sean. I like to share with Sean, you know. God is good, huh? All the time. And all the time, God is good. My friends, you know, moved down here. Brendan and Kathy. I remember Kathy when she first came in. You know, you girls remember her hair used to be like that high, her and my sister. You know, back in the day. You know, she got 30 plus, and her husband's got 30 plus. Remember when you first came? They said nobody recovers in NA. You know, Program works, and it works if you work it. So if you're new or coming back, welcome. Keep coming. Don't listen to anybody. Anybody start talking jive, you know what I mean? Know what happens? Look a few months, they ain't there because they ain't keeping the focus on themselves. Get a sponsor, get a home group, and get telephone numbers.
That's right.
And we're blessed today, right? Because we got cell phones. Remember before, we had to go, a few years back, I gotta shut up, Charlie. You told me 3 minutes ago, right? I'm looking for a phone booth. They don't have them no more. Huh? You ever try looking for a phone booth? They're extinct, right? Thank God narcotics and knives will never be extinct. We just gotta keep on. Our primary purpose to carry the message that who still suffers. And never forget that. That's our primary purpose. And with that, I'm an addict named Rick, and I'm grateful and privileged to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.